Hello and welcome to the arcade! The Nintendo DS has one of the most iconic libraries of any handheld gaming device. Everybody knows Pokemon, Mario Kart DS, New Super Mario Bros., and Brain Age, and Nintendogs. But the DS also had a ton of third-party support, with so many releases just flying under the radar because there were so many. There were approximately 3,467 games for the DS. And sure, not all of them were great, but due to the sheer volume, there's gotta be at least a few hidden gems in there. So today I want to talk about 8 of the most underrated DS games of all time and why they deserve a spot in your collection.
Number 1. Lost Magic. Lost Magic is a real-time strategy RPG released for the DS in 2006, developed by Taito. I never knew this back in the day for some reason, but this game actually used to have online play. Apparently, you could play multiple types of duels against other players via Wi-Fi with modes that let you use preset characters or the character from your main save. I gotta say, that is pretty impressive for a DS title. I first played this game when my brother picked it up for really cheap at Toys R Us one weekend when we were out on a rare shopping trip with the whole family. So in Lost Magic, you play as a young mage named Isaac, whose primary method of attack is spell casting via hand-drawn runes on the DS touchscreen. You don't use any of the standard fantasy weapons at all, you just use the stylus to draw symbols that determine the power, accuracy, and nature of each spell. The accuracy and timing of your rune drawing directly affects the spell's potency, adding a layer of complexity to the strategic mix. And not all of the spells are for attacking. There's healing and other defensive spells too. The game includes 18 runes across 6 elemental types: fire, water, earth, wind, light, and dark. The runes can also be combined, first 2 at a time and later up to 3, to form super powerful compound spells. This system allows for a total of 396 unique spells, encouraging experimentation and mastery. And aside from casting magic, you can even capture up to 62 different monsters to help you in battle. These creatures do stuff on their own if enemies get close enough, but you really should be controlling them with the touchscreen at all times. Each monster can be leveled up, equipped with gear, and enhanced with buffs, giving the game a light creature collection element reminiscent of Pokemon, but layered into a tactical framework. Honestly, I can barely think of another game to compare Lost Magic to. It's such a unique blend of different elements, and the fact that they all work together so well on the DS is just kind of mind-blowing. Number 2. Fighting Fantasy: The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Based on the classic gamebook by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, Fighting Fantasy: The Warlock of Firetop Mountain was adapted into a first-person action RPG for the DS in 2009. I first got this game in August of 2010 as a gift for my best friend and picked up a copy for myself as well. Even back then I was obsessed with finding hidden gems. I guess some things never change. The game is played from the first-person perspective and sees the player navigating a maze-like dungeon filled with traps, puzzles, and combat encounters. You'll explore tight corridors, fight classic fantasy enemies like orcs, and solve environment-based challenges. Combat is a mix of melee, magic, and item-based mechanics. As you progress, you'll collect weapons, armor, and spells, each of which can alter your approach to battle. The game captures the spirit of tabletop dungeon crawlers while adapting it to a portable, stylus-driven format. Also, just in case anyone wants to skip lockpicking, there's a glitch that happens where, if you're facing a locked chest and you can see the hand icon, just go to the menu and open your item bag. You'll then see the trade item screen of the chest you're locked onto, and you can just drag and drop all the items from it into your inventory. Nice. The game is set in a high fantasy world, and the point of the game is to explore the treacherous Firetop Mountain to confront the powerful warlock Zagor. The mountain is said to be filled with treasure, but no adventurer has ever returned. You must explore the fortress, survive its trials, and gather key artifacts necessary to reach and defeat Zagor. While the game is mostly pretty straightforward, it still creates an atmosphere and sense of adventure that you might get from playing a round of D&D or other tabletop experiences. Fans of traditional RPGs and fantasy literature will find much to appreciate. This game has even been called If Elder Scrolls Had a DS Entry. Number 3. Locke's Quest. Locke's Quest is a hybrid of tower defense and real-time strategy, developed by 5th Cell and released on the DS in 2008. Known for their work on Scribblenauts, the studio brought a similarly creative spirit to this game's unique blend of gameplay mechanics and narrative. The game alternates between two primary phases, build and battle. During the build phase, you use a resource called Source to construct defenses, walls, turrets, and traps. And in the battle phase, you actively control Locke, repairing damaged structures and engaging in combat. Combat is not necessarily fast-paced, but can sometimes feel hectic and tactile, using the DS touchscreen to move Locke and issue commands. There can be a lot to do all at once, so you have a lot of decisions to make. Plus, the added complexity of matching the number sequences to do extra damage adds a higher skill requirement. The game also features boss battles and a competitive multiplayer mode where players can challenge each other with custom enemy waves. The plot follows Locke, a young inventor defending his homeland of Antonia against an invading army of mechanical soldiers called Clockworks. The story explores themes of identity, legacy, and what it means to be alive. As Locke digs deeper into the conflict, he uncovers unsettling truths, including the revelation that, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, you'll just have to play it for yourself and find out. Despite its genre, Locke's Quest delivers an emotional story that culminates in a touching finale. Really, it's like a story you'd find in a deep fantasy RPG like a Final Fantasy or Golden Sun, not a tower defense RTS. A remastered version of the game was released in 2017 for modern platforms, improving visuals and performance while preserving the original's depth. I did first play this game on PS4 after finding a used copy at GameStop for only $10, but I like the controls a little bit better on the DS, even though the remaster is an upgrade in almost every other way. The touchscreen controls just make this game feel right at home on the DS, and I do miss that control scheme when playing this one on my PS4. Number 4. Retro Game Challenge. Retro Game Challenge, yes, that is a real game title, is a minigame compilation game developed by Indie Zero and published by Bandai Namco. Released in Japan in 2007 and North America in 2009, what I've read is that the game was a playable homage to the Japanese TV show Game Center CX, featuring challenges inspired by retro gaming history. I've never seen the show, so I have no idea, but hey, that's what it said online. So when the game starts, you get sent back to the 1980s by Demon Arino, and he forces you to complete challenges across a series of fictional but faithfully designed retro-style games. Each in-game title features unique mechanics, pixel-perfect visuals, and period-accurate difficulty. The game includes not just the retro-style games, but also game manuals, fictional magazines, and even cheat codes, all designed to emulate the gaming culture of the 8-bit era. Each title includes a series of progressive challenges. Things like reach level 3 in this game, or defeat a certain boss in this other game. This encourages players to master each game in a structured, nostalgic way. Many of the fake games are loving tributes to real classics, capturing the spirit of games like Galaga, Ninja Gaiden, and Dragon Quest. Honestly, it reminded me so much of Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, which I just picked up last year. Not that there's any speedrunning or anything, just the small challenges from full games kind of thing. I really like it. Now, this is kind of random, but I just read online that a remastered collection of Retro Game Challenge 1 and 2 is scheduled for a Switch release in Japan, though an official English version hasn't been announced yet. We'll see, but I think with the success of Nintendo World Championships, Retro Game Challenge has a chance to make it over here. Number 5. Deep Labyrinth. Now, this is another one that my brother bought from Toys R Us. Man, I still miss that place. It's where my brother and I got our first PS3, camping out overnight outside the store to wait in line to pre-order one. So, Deep Labyrinth was originally developed for mobile phones, but later got ported to the DS, bringing its unusual real-time first-person RPG mechanics to a brand new audience. The game features stylus-driven swordplay and magic casting from a first-person perspective. You use the touchscreen to draw runes and unleash spells, similar to Lost Magic. And you slide the stylus in any direction to throw sword slashes and navigate maze-like dungeons filled with enemies and environmental puzzles. One thing that's kind of interesting about this game is that the DS version includes two distinct storylines. One, adapted from the mobile version, follows a man trapped in a mysterious labyrinth after being transported there via his cell phone. Kind of meta. The second, unique to the DS, follows a boy named Sean whose family dog, Ace, is lost within the titular deep labyrinth. Each story offers its own tone and difficulty, providing an accessible entry point and a more intense RPG challenge. While it didn't receive widespread attention, Deep Labyrinth is notable for its early use of touchscreen-based first-person combat and for being one of the few RPGs on the DS that embraced a fully real-time combat system with direct player input. It's a little weird, a little clunky, but it's got heart and charm. And an absolutely banging soundtrack by none other than Yasunori Mitsuda, the composer of Chrono Cross and many, many more. Number 6. Trackmania DS. Trackmania DS is based on Trackmania United Forever and was developed by Firebrand Games and published by Focus Home Interactive. The game has over 100 tracks across 3 main modes: race, platform, and puzzle. It also includes an awesome track editor that lets you design and customize your own race courses directly on the DS. While it doesn't include all 7 environments from Trackmania United, it does have 3 key environments: Rally, Desert, and Stadium, that provide a variety of terrains and racing experiences. To be honest, the only one I care about is Stadium anyway, because I have really only played Trackmania Nations Forever. I just prefer the physics and handling of stadium tracks and cars versus any other terrain, so I'm not really bummed about missing snow tracks and bay tracks and stuff like that. I will say though, sometimes the physics don't feel exactly right in this game, even on the stadium tracks, but if you're a real Trackmania player, you'll get used to it pretty quick. We aren't afraid of playing a single track over and over for hundreds or even thousands of times, so we can adapt to anything. Another cool thing about this game is that it has the ability to share your custom tracks locally with other players who own the game. While I will admit that I would just prefer to have these tracks available in Trackmania Nations Forever, overall Trackmania DS is a solid racing title for fans of the series or fans of arcade-style gameplay and creative track building. It's a solid handheld entry into a series really only known for its PC games. Number 7. Moon. Moon is a first-person shooter developed by Renegade Kid and released for the DS in early 2009. It's notable for being one of the very few true 3D first-person experiences on the handheld, a real technical achievement given the system's limitations. The gameplay involves exploring lunar bases, engaging in combat against alien enemies, solving puzzles, and progressing through a sci-fi narrative presented via cutscenes, text logs, and radio communications. Honestly, the narrative is paced really well and has some really tense moments that reminded me of franchises like Halo and Alien. The game controls utilize both the D-pad and the touchscreen, which was typical for DS shooters of the time. You get access to 7 different weapons and a small robot drone companion that can perform tasks like disabling shields and stunning enemies. The story is set in the year 2058, following Major Kane, a space marine sent to investigate a mysterious sealed hatch on the moon. The plot unfolds to reveal government experiments, alien threats, and an escalating conflict, culminating in large-scale battles and space chases. Moon is a strictly single-player game with great atmosphere, cinematic storytelling, and ambitious scope for a game on the DS. The touchscreen controls using the stylus feel surprisingly accurate and responsive, and the game running in 60 frames per second really adds a ton of playability to this one. Even though the environments can be bland or hard to see sometimes, the fact that this game plays so smoothly makes it really easy on the eyes. In fact, it controls so well that it makes me think that something like Unreal Tournament or Quake could have had an entry on the DS. Wouldn't that have been something? Oh look, what do you know? Great minds think alike, I guess. Number 8. Magician's Quest: Mysterious Times. Now, the last game I want to talk about made for the biggest gaming surprise I've had in quite a while. Magician's Quest is a fantasy life simulation game that blends the open-ended day-to-day structure of Animal Crossing with a magical twist. You play as a student at a magic academy where you attend classes, learn spells, go on adventures, and build relationships with a wide range of unique characters. It's almost like if Hogwarts Legacy and Animal Crossing had a DS game as a baby. The game was released in different regions under different names. Enchanted Folk and the School of Wizardry in Europe, and in Japan it was known as Pointy Hats and 365 Days of Magic. That Japanese title gives you a good idea of the game's tone. There's a really big focus on seasonal events, day-by-day progression, and an overall sense of wonder. But honestly, I hate all of these titles. The Japanese one is the best out of the three, but at some point they had to have stopped and thought, would a title like this really help us sell this game? Seriously, after this and Retro Game Challenge, I am fully convinced that a bad game title can do so much harm to the exposure that your game is gonna get. Anyways, I digress. 3 sequels for this game were released in Japan, continuing the Pointy Hats theme. Pointy Hats in the Shop of Magic, Pointy Hats and the Stylish Wizard, and Pointy Hats and the Town of Magic. Unfortunately, none of these follow-ups ever made it outside of Japan, which truly is a shame because I can see a huge audience for a game series like this worldwide. A ton of people love Animal Crossing and Hogwarts Legacy and would buy almost anything that could give them more of those. I know I would. So anyways, at the start of the game you get to create your own character, choosing things like your name, gender, appearance, and even the name of the magic school itself, and begin attending the magic school. It didn't allow enough characters for Raya Lucaria, but I went with it anyway. You learn spells and how to cast them from your teachers and your fellow students, and those spells become useful in completing a series of 52 weekly adventures, each offering a small story or challenge. Beyond the schoolwork, the game offers a lot of freedom and customization. You can decorate your room, form close relationships, and even start a band with your classmates. Each student plays a different musical instrument, adding to the game's personality and variety. The world of Magician's Quest is also tied to the DS's internal clock with time-sensitive events and seasonal activities similar to Animal Crossing Wild World. What sets it apart, though, is its unique event system called Mystery Time. Mystery Time is a special mode that you can trigger using a magical key. When activated, the entire world shifts, colors change, music transforms, and new characters and creatures appear. During this time, you can take exclusive lessons and encounter rare bugs, fish, and even mythical or supernatural creatures. The day after activating Mystery Time, a mysterious visitor shows up with a short quest for you to complete, usually something light with a reward at the end. These visitors range from whimsical characters like Satyr, who wants to play music with you, to more intense ones like Death, who might show up demanding candy. You'll also see creatures like fairies, dragons, and seasonal characters like Jack-o'-lantern or Krampus, depending on the time of year. Mystery Time events can either be triggered manually or occur on their own during certain calendar dates, which adds an extra layer of mystery and excitement to the game's already packed schedule. Magician's Quest Mysterious Times is a game full of charm, mystery, and character. It offers a surprising amount of depth, especially for a DS title, and creates a magical world that feels alive and constantly evolving. It's a hidden gem that deserves more recognition, particularly for fans of life sims or fantasy settings.
I know not every game on this list will appeal to everyone, but that's sort of the magic of the DS. It had games that hardcore gamers and Super Nintendo fans could love, but also games for the weirdos like me who want to try something different and janky and weird. Now, I know some of you must have your own pick for the most underrated DS games, and I would love to hear them. So let me know what games you think I should have included on this list, and as always, until next time, thank you so much for watching.